Today we are making the perfect South African snack to go with your pineapple here. We are going to make biltong. We'll show you the process start to finish. First we build a drying box and then we prepare the meat. So let's show you how to start a biltong box. Today we are building ourselves a biltong box. What is a biltong box? Well, biltong, one of South Africa's favorite snacks. It's basically dried and cured meat, similar to what you would say beef jerky is, but it's not the same and it's a hell of a lot more delicious. So let's show you how to make your own biltong box first of all. What are you going to do with your biltong box? That's where you're going to cure and dry your meat in. Right guys, so what are we going to need for this task? We're going to need a drill. We're going to need an old computer fan. I've got an old laptop fan, so quite a small one, this one, but it's perfect for the size box that I've got here. If you don't have one of those, you'll just cut bigger holes, but I'll show you, or I'll give you an idea how that will work. Then you're going to need a little block that you can use just when you're busy drilling, that you don't drill into your table or anything like that, and some measuring equipment and all the goods that you're going to need. Let's get going. So, first of all, like I said, you're going to need a decent size box. Obviously it needs to be deep enough for your biltong to hang into, and what we are going to do now is we are going to take some dowels. You can use normal wooden dowel sticks, cut them to them so that they are just longer than the width of your box. I'm going to use 5 because that's the perfect amount that I need for my box, and all you're going to do is you're going to drill some holes in the side of the box so that these can go through there, and then you'll be able to hang your biltong from there. So let's start with task number 1, drilling the holes. First of all, you take your measurements and you mark your lines where you want your drill holes to be. So my box is 40 across. I got the middle at 20 and I've measured 5 centimeters each one away from each other, so that there's enough space that the biltong won't touch each other when you do it. Very important is when you drill into this plastic, get yourself a little wooden block that you can push on the inside and drill into, because otherwise you're going to crack and break the plastic. Make sure you get your drill the same size as what your dowel sticks is going to be, and you are just going to drill a hole through there. And you'll see my dowel will go through there perfectly. We're going to do the same on the other side. So we have now drilled 5 holes. We've drilled 5 holes, and we're going to do the same on the other side, exactly opposite the ones we've got that side. First, grab yourself a little bit more biltong. Delicious snack. Then we just mark it out again. We've got the middle, and we just want them 5 centimeters apart. Measure twice, cut once. Let's go and drill again. So put your wood onto the inside, onto my mark, and go. Just slowly, don't need to go fast. Now that you've got your holes done, we are going to just make sure that they all fit perfectly. And the idea is that it becomes a little rack that you can use to dry your stuff on. Voila! Step 1 of your drying rack done. So that's basically what it's going to look like in the end once you've done with it. As you can see, these are all nice and tight, and then I've got one that's easier to remove, and that's just to make it easier when I actually hang the biltong, that I can take this one out and I've got some space to hang, and then put that last one back in again, and you'll hang your biltong from there. So what will happen then is once you've got everything all that, you can put the lid on, and that's where you hang your biltong. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make a plan to mount the fan in here somewhere, and we need to make sure that we've got a hole for the air to go in and for the air to go out, so that you don't have still pockets of air in there, because the reason for that is you're going to have your biltong hanging in here, which is raw meat, and you don't want that raw meat to stand in a dry pocket area. You want the air to flow through it, and that will help the drying process and the curing process, and the fan will just make it a lot quicker. If you do not have the fan, you can still use the same bucket, but you will then just cut bigger holes in on the side, and you will put a mesh over that on both sides, mesh on that side, and then you can put it in a dry, cool place to dry, and it's just going to take a little bit longer than what it will take with the fan. If you can do that and you don't have the small fan, like I said, if you do make the holes, you can put it in a room and you can actually put a normal house fan directly on it, and it will also just help the air flow through it and keep new fresh air going through, and again assist with your curing process. You don't want your meat to go moldy, and if there's no holes in here and there's no air circulation, your meat's going to go moldy, and that's the last thing you want to do. So right, let's get cracking. So what I've decided to do is to make a hole on the side, just the same size as my fan's intake there, and then I'm going to mount the fan on the inside, low at the bottom. And then I will make an exit hole on the other side, a little bit higher, so that the air flows from the bottom through to the top, and it's got to pass way through all the meat in order to get out on the other side. So how are we going to do that? So first of all, we need to measure where and how we want our fan to be mounted. Here we go. Now we've got our air intake hole there, and that will just help, well, that will just allow the fan then to take fresh air in from the outside into our container. How are we going to mount this sucker? I'm going to need to get some screws to be able to mount that in there. And there you go. Now you've mounted your fan. Next step, we're going to make a hole so that the air can travel through and it's got somewhere else to come out of. Step 2, done. You've got your fan mounted. I've tested it. There is airflow going, because if I've got the lid on, there's air coming out of the holes there, but those holes will be filled with our dowel sticks. So we need to now have a section where the air can come out. Step 3 is making yourself an outlet. So my fan is at the bottom, so I want my outlet to be at the top somewhere to allow for the air to flow right all the way through all the biltong and back out again at the top somewhere. Make a small exhaust over on this side. Perfect. Now you've made yourself an exit hole, but you don't want the exit hole to be open, because you don't want creepy crawlies or insects to climb in there, or flies to come in onto your meat, spoiling your meat. So that's why we've got the filter. So we're just going to mount it over our hole. Right, so let's cut it to the right size, to a square. I'm going to show you the easy way to mount it. Cut it into a square so it just fits over your hole. You can use some duct tape, but in this instance I'm going to use some insulation tape just to show you how easy it is to make this and mount it yourself. Stick it across like that. Cut it. Do the same for the top. And this way you can actually take your filter off and clean it if it gets dust on or if it gets dirty. If you glue it on, you can't do that. So maybe I'll just keep this on like this so that I can actually use the filter, clean the filter whenever I need to. Step 3, done. You've got your filter hole, you've got your exit hole, and you've got a filter in front of it. Step 4, it's pretty much the same. We're just now going to put a filter over our fan so that no creepy crawlies can come in from that side. So we're going, and there you have it. Step 3, done. You've now got a filter on your fan, and that's what it's going to look like. Now all we're going to do is we putting our dowels back in again, and there you go, your Biltong drying rack machine done. Give us a comment below what you think we should call this. Maybe you can call it the Biltonginator or something like that. But there we go, that is now our Biltong machine, and this will last us a long time, and it will make many kilos of biltong in this house, I can promise you that. But now let's test and see if it works. So what we're going to do to test and see if it works today is we are going to use something that is very precious in some parts of the world over this period. We're going to use some loo roll, and we're just going to hang it over our rack like this, and then we are going to plug it in and see if there is any movement. Let's see. Our toilet paper, our loo roll, what we call here toilet paper, is now standing absolutely still. Let's see if when we put on our Biltong drying machine, if there's any movement, so then we'll know if there's air flowing through there. So let's have a look. And as you can see, immediately there is some movement on our loo roll. So that means we've got proper airflow going through here, and we are going to make the most delicious biltong. Right guys, now let's go and make that biltong. Let me show you the recipe of how to make your own biltong. Today we're going to make biltong. We are going to make biltong with some silver side. I've had my butcher cut the silver side for me already. Important to let them cut it against the grain, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult to eat and break. So you get yourself some nice cuts. These are about 2 centimeters thick. Nice 2 centimeter thick pieces that we've got here, and I'm going to cut this up so it can fit into our biltong box. You can use the biltong drying box like what we're using at the moment, or otherwise you can just hang it up in a nice dry room where there's lots of air going through. But biltong box is better and it's going to work quicker, so let's show you how to marinate your meat. Right, we've got Wendy here, so we are cooking with Wendy today. Okay, Wendy, move. So first of all, we're going to take this piece of meat, and as you can see, there's a nice piece of fat running down the side there, and that's what we want for our biltong, as well as the nice piece of fat. Now these are quite wide, so I'm just going to cut these along the middle there, and then also along the middle over there. I like these to be quite short so they can hang nice in the bottom of my dryer without hitting the bottom. So first of all, we're going to start cutting it just through here. Like I said, it's always nice if you have a nice sharp knife. And you can see one cut, and we've got through that quite cleanly. Okay, now that we've got our meat cut into our pieces, what I want to do is I'm going to also make a bit of chili bites. So for the chili bites, I'm going to cut these even thinner. So I'm just going to take 2 of these and cut them in half again. And those I will do as chili bites, so that will give a slightly different rub. Before we do any of that, now we are going to marinate our meat. Let's get to the marination. So when we're going to marinate it, all we're going to do is we're going to use some brown vinegar. We're going to put all of our meat into our Tupperware, and then we are going to cover it with the vinegar, and we're going to let it rest for 1 hour to 2 hours in the vinegar. And once that is rested for 2 hours, we will take it out, we'll tap it dry, and then we will start with our rub. But for this process, let's start by packing the meat. Pack your meat into your Tupperware. On your first layer, take some of your brown vinegar. Just liberally dish it in there, because it needs to soak in there. And then you can stack on your next lot. Okay, once everything is done, give it more vinegar. That's it. And now we're going to let this rest with the lid on for 2 hours. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. It's now been 2 hours since we have put our meat into the vinegar. On the 1 hour mark, I just turned it all around and put the top meat at the bottom, just so everything gets covered into the vinegar equally and properly. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take our meat out, and we are going to give it a dry rub. The rub that I like to put together is equal parts pepper, salt and coriander. So for the salt, we've got some coarse salt. For the pepper, I have got ground pepper, and then I've got the coriander. So we've got a mortar and pestle here, and we are going to use that to crush some of this up. I think for today, for this amount of meat, I'm going to use about 1/4 cup of each. So for my method, I use equal parts of everything. Once you're satisfied with it being ready, it doesn't have to be too fine because it just needs to coat your meat. So your salt will help also with the preservation of the meat. So we're going to chuck that into our main bowl, and you can just mix all of that up quite nicely. Mix that up, and that is your biltong rub. Whatever is left over after you've used, you'll seal it up and you'll use it with your next batch of biltong. And this is the tiny bit I'm going to mix up with some Nando's shaker powder, and I'm also going to put in some chili flakes. And there you have it. There we've got our 2 rubs. Right, so next thing we're going to do is put those aside, and we are going to take our meat out of the vinegar. So once you've got your meat and you've taken it out of the vinegar, you want to tap it back down and just take off all the excess moisture. See, the vinegar has soaked in there very nicely. So while that is all soaked up nicely into the vinegar, we now need to take off some of that excess vinegar. So I just take some kitchen towel and we're just going to give this a pat down. Turn it around, do the same on that side. Now we're going to start with the dry rubs. So we're just going to take our rub and you're just going to gently sprinkle on everyone first, and then you're going to actually rub it in. That's why it's called a rub. So we're actually now going to just rub some of that in there, and that meat will now start absorbing a little bit of the salt and the coriander. Do the one side, and you then turn it around, and you do exactly the same thing on the other side. And the next step is then we are going to use a drying box. So now what we've made in addition to this is we've just taken some wire and we've made some S hooks with the wire, and all we're going to do is we're going to hook the S hooks through our biltong and then we'll hang it there. But before we hang it there, because this is raw meat, there is going to be a little bit of blood dripping, so I'm going to take some tin foil in that same size, lay it at the bottom so it drips on the tin foil, easier to clean it up in the end. Here we go. So now what you will do is, once you've got your S hook through your meat, you're going to hang it over one of your bars inside your dryer. And you'll just keep doing that with all the pieces of meat. Just make sure when you hang them that they don't touch each other and they don't touch the box, your drying rack. And there you go, guys. You have made yourself some biltong. You've made your own biltong dryer. Now all you need to do is pop this puppy's lid back on again, plug it in, and wait for it to dry your meat within about 3 days. Show you what the meat looks like with the rub on. It's been 2 days, guys, and due to the fact that we cut our meat quite small to fit into the smaller container, and because we've had 2 quite nice hot days here in South Africa over the last 2 days, meant that our biltong dried a lot quicker. And it also means that our biltong drying box is working 100% perfect, that there's quite a lot of air going through there, and that's what helped the process so this could dry in only 2 days. Now that you've dried your biltong, what does your biltong need to look like? So the way I like my biltong is, or it needs to be a little bit wet still. Where some people like it must be completely dry, and other people it needs to be halfway. So perfect biltong for me means if you take your piece of biltong out, let's do that. Okay, choose a piece with a piece of fat on it. That is what the biltong looks like now that it is dry. How do you know it's dry? You can see it's a lot stiffer than the meat we had before. And then if you touch it, it's dry, but if you touch it and you just squeeze it, you can feel it's got a bit of a spring to it. And that's how I like it. Some people like it completely dry. Like I said, I like it like this. So when I cut it open, I'm going to just cut off a slice here. See, it slices nice and easy because I've got my sharp knife again. So the way I like it is that the middle of the meat must have a little bit more color, and then the outside is your darker, which gives you a bit of a crunch to it. Now for the taste test, to see if our biltong came out right, if we got the right kind of rub, if there's any overpowering taste that we don't want. Let's see. Champion. This came out exactly the way I wanted. Nice, soft in the middle where it's actually melting in your mouth almost. And this is champion. This is going to go perfect with our apple cider. You'll see in the next video. Let's try the apple cider. See in the next video what it tastes like. A little bit of a hint. With regards to the biltong, any South African that's worth his salt will tell you this is his favorite all-day snack. Biltong never goes amiss. There you go, guys. Whether you stand around the brine or watching the rugby or the soccer or the cricket, whatever sports you're into, this is the perfect snack together with whatever homemade brew you've made. The pineapple beer in one of our previous videos, or this beer, which is our apple cider that you'll see in the next video. And then our chili sticks. Now with regards to my chili sticks, I like them drier than the biltong. Let's try our chili bite. Very nice. Nice little tangy bite to it. If you like something with a bit more spice to it or more of a bite to it, make yourself a chili bite. There we go, boys and girls. You have now made your own perfect South African snack called biltong. If you ever wondered what biltong was, now you know how to make it. I dare you go and try and make your own biltong. And then tell us in the comments below how delicious yours came out. Anyway guys, if you like this video, give it a like, give us a subscribe, ring a bell, and here on out guys, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep enjoying the sunshine. Peace out, see you in the next one.